you've said that Latin America is the place where it's most likely, most probable to have an evolution of human consciousness. Why do you believe that?
Basically because we have had now more than 500 years, to integrate the elements, cultural, political, linguistic, religious elements from all the other cultures from the world. Asia kept closed for centuries, for millennia. Closed. Africa kept isolated, and Europe became very, because of chauvinistic, nationalistic, cultural reasons, very enclosed in their own borders, French within French, Italian. So it's only now that the process of encounter of cultures is happening, for instance, in Europe, with all the immigration of South Americans, Asians, and Africans coming into Europe. They're experimenting basically what we started to experiment 500 years ago. Asia, same thing, is developing following the model of industrialism and capitalist economy very fast, and they're turning economical powers. And they are getting very much inspiration from the globalization, from all the global culture, but not from the actual mixing, coming together from cultures. Like in America, we had a very long, painful, difficult process of mestizaje or miscegenation, but now what we have is a more coherent, nationality, Latin American nationality that the rest of the continent don't have. Besides, we have had now 100 years of revolution in many countries, or 200 years of independence, and I think the Americas, South and Central America, are ready for a third, big social-political change. We had one 200 years ago, we had one 100 years ago, and I think what is happening now with the new governments in Bolivia, in Ecuador, in Brazil, in Uruguay, in Paraguay, all those things that are happening, which for the first time, workers, indigenous leaders, religious leaders from the left are all establishing themselves as head of nations, of countries, in those different places, is showing that something is happening in a more, large scale than just what's happening in Uruguay or in Argentina or in Chile. Chile is a setback. I've been talking with a lot of the leaders, political leaders of Chile after the elections, and they feel that the problem was that they didn't have a candidate, that if Bachelet would have been able to continue in power for another 4 years or 5 years, she had 81% of the vote already, but they didn't have anybody to vote for. I do think that what, in a way, all these manifestations, political, economical manifestations, the new chart of Bolivia, the new chart of Ecuador, are the first constitutions for the rights of Pachamama that are now constitutionally, accepted, and that's totally new. And in that sense, I do see hope, that what's being now, growing in the different countries, this exchange more and more. We have Evo coming this weekend, and we probably have Chavez coming in a month or so. There is a closer and closer relationship between all our countries now, and I think that is very important. Both Ecuador and Bolivia setting up the example of how to create laws to prevent transnationals to continue exploiting their resources. We had a lot of hopes on what was happening or could happen in the United States with the election of Obama, but what we see now is that it's like he said also from the beginning, and I think he was honest when he said, I'm not going to be able to change that personally or my administration. But we did see things that he could have done that would have really meant a big change, not only for the States, but for all of the rest of the Latin American countries and for the world as well. But implementations of policies like creating new bases, military bases in Colombia, the situation in Cuba that has not changed at all. Now all the decisions from the Obama's administration, for instance, to start funding nuclear energy, the continuous war in Afghanistan, or signs were not very optimistic. But that's also going to help the movements, social movements in the South, to know that they cannot trust that it's going to come from there. That each country, and all of the countries like a bloc, we have to make those changes. And the important is that this new wave, this new of optimism, of change, of hope, can really manifest itself. That it doesn't stay only good intentions and words and projects and programs who cannot be manifested. Some of my friends say I'm a workaholic, which might be true, But for me, this is the sense more of imperative, that the situation in the planet and for humanity and for nature in this moment implies that we don't have too much time to wait or to wait for the changes to happen, but that we have to make them happen every day in our lives, And now that I'm 64, I'm also aware that I don't know how many more years I'm going to have of strength, health, intelligence, so that I can do as much as I can. So what basically inspires me is to use any time that I have is to use it as, to the full extent of it, and that there is so many things that I'm passionate about, that I could have 3 lifetimes and still not have time enough to do all the things that I would like to do. So basically I like action, I like, to manifest what I think, I like to make real my dreams, that I don't think it's like the Mayas said, the Maya Zapatistas said, we have had a long time to dream. Now it's the time to wake up, And wake up means wake up and manifest what you dreamt, Because, and I also said it a couple of times, any dream that we don't manifest becomes a nightmare made by somebody else, So I prefer to manifest and realize and create my dreams that live into the nightmares that are, surrounding us all the time, socially, ecologically, politically, economically, psychologically. Okay, I prefer to use my energy, my life, whatever lifetime I have, just for that, to manifest hope, to manifest positive actions, proposals. I did have a long period of my life of protest, and I decided the time of protest was over. It was the time to propose, to proposals, and to manifest our proposals, to show that when we talk, to walk our talk, to do what we say we want to do, that we don't stay only, denouncing or complaining about all the things that go wrong in the planet, but to make even small things better. It's already a positive change that if it's done by everyone, well, it might slowly change the paradigm of apathy, of impotence, of frustration, of fear that is governing the lives of most of the people. So I prefer to work with that perspective and to share that in anything I do, and to be contagious in that positive sense of bringing rainbows wherever I go, so that we don't continue living only in the storm, but we can see after the storm. So that's what I'm doing.